Mad Max Fetty Road.
Get out. Get out.
Start your sublight engines. It's time for RuPaul's Pod Race, a queer Star Wars podcast. Welcome back to another week of chaos. My name is Mel. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on social media at Melvin Culpa. And my gender this week is the little guy in last season's Hut Slayer bikini at 10:33 in the episode. You're going to have to go look at it for yourself because I cannot verbally explain. Here, I'll send a screenshot to y'all because I have it open.
That looks like
You
I
went
haven't
off for
seen the
this.
Suicide Squad, but y'all know that character named the Weasel.
My name is Ollie. I use any pronouns. You can find me on social media at Ollie Fresh. It's fresh with a PH. And my gender this week is Tuskification, which is what the process that Boba Fett went through in this episode.
Is
That's
that
very
not just
good.
yassification?
Hi, my name is Claudia. My pronouns are she, her. You can find me on social media at Kaludia Says, Kaludia Says. My gender of the week is your driving instructor, Boba Fett. At the beginning, you see him go to the DMV, which is in the mayor's office, and he is struggling with the fact that their scheduling system is really. I literally thought it was the funniest. I think the show is really funny in general. The comedic timing is stellar, and him just going in and then being like, "Do you have an appointment?" I thought I was gonna die, but then later on when he's is teaching the Tuskens how to drive, I think it all just went together, and it was a very relatable experience for me.
I'm Jess. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on TikTok and Twitter at Kawaii Jessio. And my gender this week, it's just a rat.
I my gender was almost very briefly Jake Paul Fennec Shand. It's just a prank bro because that dude got thrown in there, and I did think there was going to be a Moochie cameo, but instead, like you said,
because
Zendaya?
unfortunately Luke did kill that thing.
Yeah.
No,
Also,
but I was making a reference to Avatar: The Last Airbender about just a bear because it was just a rat.
Yeah.
Oh
when
my
they're,
god, get out of here.
when
That
they're-
It wasn't any kind of special little rat. It was literally just
know.
a rat.
It's just a little guy.
I was thinking that. I was like, oh my God, it's just a rat.
My name is Noah. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on social media at The Jewish Jedi. And my gender this week was going to be Boba Fett in his driver's ed era, but somebody stole that. So instead, my gender is Temuera Morrison saying, like a bantha, which I think was the best part of the episode. He does a little dancey dance on the speaker. I would like to announce the death of a segment that was introduced last week that we are no longer doing. It was called the Books of Boba Fett because we all foolishly operated under the assumption that the episodes would be named after books, but this was not.
some of us just stayed silent about it because we were like,
I suppose I should correct it. I was operating under the foolish assumption that they would name the episodes after books, and then we would explain the books. They did not. This episode was, however, titled The Tribes of Tatooine, and overall, I really liked it.
yeah, we started this episode off very, very funky fresh, back with the boys. Fennec brings back the little assassin man that she captured last episode and is like, what the fuck is your deal? And he's like, I'm not saying shit. And then they throw him in the Rancor pit and he's like, I guess I'll talk now.
He talks and he's like, I guess I'll talk now because I'm scared of the Rancor. And Fennec has maybe the best delivery ever when she's like, there's no Rancor in there. I don't remember what the exact line is. I'm kicking myself, but it's so funny.
The gay little slide they have to make the chair go forward. I remember that being, that is, I believe, in Return of the Jedi, right? Am I just being forgetful? Yeah. But it was so much more fun with Fennec luxuriating on the side of the chair as it slides forward.
You think Boba and Fennec just mess with that sometimes? Woo,
Oh,
the
1,000%.
chair
they practiced that move. They were like, okay, we're gonna do it at some. They were like, we don't have a Rancor, but let's practice it.
Consider we have a rat.
Okay, the idea of Fennec being like, maybe if we need to intimidate someone, because I know you're not super big on the torture thing, maybe we could just pretend we have a Rancor. And Boba's like, there is no way that is gonna work. And then this happened and she was like, oh, it's time for our trick. Maybe he'll be scared of the Rancor. And Boba's like, all right. And then it worked. He was like, oh, wig. Okay. Go girl boss.
I guess one thing I like about this, and this was evident in The Mandalorian, but I guess now it's more solidified that this is like a tone that they're going with, is the comedic timing is really funny and really good. Like, they brought back beats from the last episode. And they kept it wasn't just like I'm gonna throw out a one line or whatever. Like, there's actually like comedic writing there, and also clearly a lot of like really good delivery from the actors. Other than the main points of the episode, that has now become my favorite part of it. And all the jokes that we've been making about like, oh, they're two pretty best friends and this is how they would act, whatever. Then that's literally how they act. Like, we can't even exaggerate it at this point.
I just wanted to bring up, like the beginning, and they're like, you see Fennec bring the dude back to the palace. How far is the palace away from Mos Espa? And did Fennec just make that man walk with her all the way from Mos Espa back to the palace?
I do enjoy the idea that from Boba's palace to Mos Espa, because we know that Boba did not come in on a leader. I like the idea of him getting an Uber pool and having everyone in there. And so the Uber pool left with Boba and the Gamorreans when he was like, I've ran out of spoons, get me back in my little bath. And so Fennec's like, fuck you, I don't have a phone, I can't order another one, guess I'll just walk.
Maybe she does, and they're just like, the palace parking area is underneath. And so they have
so you have to walk back up.
Yeah, there's no elevator or whatever. Because like, if you've read the comics and stuff, you know that there's like shit in the bowels of the palace. So like, the parking maybe isn't connected. So maybe you have to.
No. There's shit in the bowels of the palace. Phraseology.
Get out of here.
We can't be fifth graders on Maine.
We already are.
That's a solid 7th grade joke. Okay.
All right, IBS Thrawn.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Also,
I didn't realize we were getting personal. Okay.
I wasn't making fun of you. I was saying that you always bring up IBS when Thrawn is around.
I actually know what's in Jabba's palace because I played the critically acclaimed Lego Star Wars games, and there are multiple levels in which you are inside Jabba's palace. So
Is it full of shit?
Anyway, yeah, I think there's an external parking structure, and they were just walking around to the driveway. Granted, that does look like kind of like a garage
The
door
world's
opener.
longest driveway.
Yeah, it's kind of like when your family like fills your house and your garage with shit, and then you can't actually put the car in the garage, so you have to walk.
I do like Hoarder's Jabba's Palace edition, where like Boba and Fennec like take over Jabba's palace, and they're like, okay, we have to like go through like everything that they own here. Like, this room seems pretty nice, and then they open literally the door to like any other room in Jabba's palace, and it's just like floor to ceiling, just like pizza boxes and like random mail and other paraphernalia. And they're like, okay, well, Matt Berry protocol droid, please help.
I was so glad he was still in the episode. I was like, oh, thank God you're still here.
Speaking of cameos that we saw again, Max Rebo made another cameo in this episode.
Yeah, I was like,
my God.
Max Rebo, you're still here too. That's so great.
New ship, Max Rebo / Matt Berry protocol droid who's obsessed with feet, canonically.
Stop.
Okay, Max Rebo does play the piano or the little thing with his feet, so I think that makes sense.
It's a match made in heaven. For those of you who don't know, the Matt Berry protocol droid, whose name escapes me, not protocol droid, torture droid, is in Return of the Jedi, in the scene where C-3PO and R2 are getting escorted in the basement. There's a scene where that droid is like looking
in the
at
bowels.
In the bowels with all the shit. There is a scene where they're looking at like the wheels bottom feet part of a dismembered droid, and it's very funny.
Okay, this brings me to another question now too. We brought up Max Rebo. It's like, is this all still happening on the same day? Like, did they like go back to the palace? Like, Boba had his little like moment where he's like, okay, I've rested in my little pod again. Fennec has brought me this assassin. The assassin got spooked by our not Rancor and told us that the mayor was trying to assassinate me. Now let's go back, even though we were just there like an hour ago.
I think so, and I think then the rest of the dreams are when he like goes to sleep for the night.
I wish that the show would do like a video game-esque title card that's like day 1, night 1, day 2, just so we know.
I like the
And
idea
the
of it
Five
being a
Nights at
countdown.
Freddy's.
Dawn of the final day, 24 hours.
We're like, what is
remain.
this a countdown to? No, but it makes sense. I don't think there was any time where Boba just maybe they like when Fennec brought him in, they locked him up for a little so Boba could like take a shower or something. I don't know.
He's like, let me put on new clothes. I did get mine's all wet in the pod.
I do want to say Fennec Shand being like, oh, those guys, you pay for the brand. Like she really was like, I mean, Gucci, it's overpriced. When you could just, you know what? Fennec Shand was me going, you could just get the Costco brand, which is equally as good of quality and a better price, and it's actually the same product. They just put it in a different bottle and you would never know. That's when I'm explaining that to people, that's her about the assess.
So it has just occurred to me that I do believe Fennec Shand is the type to buy quite literally everything at like Costco's.
Exactly.
At Costco. Like, that's why all of her clothes look the exact same, is because she's buying the same.
She's my dad!
She's an extreme couponer.
Oh my god.
She's the person who goes to Safeway with so many coupons that she walks out with the store owing her money. Like, not only is everything free, but like they have to give her cash because of the value she turned in.
We were saying that the palace is full of shit because of Hoarder Bib Fortuna. Let's assume it's not Jabba and it's Hoarder Bib Fortuna and it's full of shit. Let's say that they clean it out and then she's like, I have all this space and now I need to stock, and she orders delivery from Space Costco, and she's always like very organized about it, just as much as she is about her guns and everything. So Boba's like, how do we always have so much of everything? And she's like, because I have a Costco membership. Like, what's not clicking?
He's the one who's buying all the toilet paper.
Exactly, but here's the thing.
Not toilet paper hoarder Fennec Shand.
I'm just saying, if in theory they cleared out Bib Fortuna's hoarding era, it had to go somewhere, right? So I would like to propose the idea of Boba's Palace garage sale, because they weren't just gonna like throw it away. Like, because if Fennec is in her extreme couponing era, she's also the type to pick up something from like 45 years ago and be like, I bet I could get something good for this. Like, that's what so like
she
prior
picks
to
things
the
up
show,
on the curb when
Tatooine pickers.
I also do like the idea of Boba being like, Fennec, we need to have a conversation about this because you are being a little bit much. And she's like, why? We have the storage. And you know what? Now we have 2 children to take care of. The Gamorreans, we need to take care of them. They're our responsibility. And our little torture droid, we have to take care of them. We're basically parents now. You can't just keep acting like we don't need to stockpile on stuff. And he's like, okay.
Speaking of the Gamorreans, did they get them better shorts? I don't know, their asses weren't out this episode.
I think it was just better angles.
No up the skirt shots for the Gamorreans.
Also fun fact about the Gamorreans. I did find out that based on a couple different sources, I believe it was from a couple Now Legends games, the Gamorrean guards in Jabba's palace did have names. There are 9 of them. We don't know what the last 2's names are, but their names were Ortug, Rogwa, Jubnuk, Gartog, Ghana Gleemort, Thok, and Thug. So I'm proposing I like this being Thok and Thug, the 2 survivors.
I also have to say, one thing that I noticed was when Boba walks out to face the 2 huts, he has the Gamorreans behind him, but he also has Fennec behind him. And he says straight to Fennec, he goes, watch my back, which he wouldn't usually have to do because he has the Gamorreans behind him. And my first thought was like, maybe in that moment he's thinking like, okay, they went from one boss to another, and if they see that there's another hut in charge, maybe they're going to go on the hut side. So maybe I don't trust the Gamorreans anymore. I was like, oh no, our little green guys, but then they were fine. So
Thok and Thug would never betray him like that.
Anyways, we have so much left of the episode. This was 52 minutes and we're about 5 minutes in. So let's move on. Basically, some huts roll up. They're like, hey, we're twins. This is actually like our place. And Boba's like, you're done.
No, because I killed Bib Fortuna, and Bib Fortuna did take over after Jabba. So this is my house now. That's Boba Fett in that moment.
He said, actually, I'm the alpha. I'm the leader.
No.
Where's Rada? Where's
Rada?
I.E.?
Living his life somewhere. Hopefully, maybe.
If they pull the whole like, well, you didn't really kill Jabba. By that logic, Leia is the legal owner of.
Not the Mandalorian.
Dark saber logic.
I just love the idea of them being like, yeah, you didn't actually kill Jabba. And he's like, yeah, but like neither did you. Neither did Bib Fortuna, actually. It was this other lady that I didn't know about.
I honestly was just surprised to see some Hutts still alive because, I'm dumb and I really was under the impression that most of the Hutts got killed by Darth Vader, but whatever.
I was really hoping it was going to be a surprise Gardula moment. I can't remember if she's dead or not. I just was really thinking that would be fun if she was like, hey guys, I got electrocuted really bad in the High Republic and then was silent for like 200 years. What's up?
I believe in some of the comics, I'm still catching up. They're like a lot of the Hutts are dead, but there's like a couple that are alive and trying to hustle their way around. But I think that was also why they had the line of Boba being like, yeah, I mean, why would the Hutts be here? Like, aren't they all kind of concerned with the business on Nal Hutta? And he said debauchery, so I don't know if that means like they've turned it into a family casino, much like I think that this palace will become once Omega comes and they turn it into the Fett family casino.
No.
Little reference.
Anyways, so then we do get into like a flashback of one of like just like I have so many thoughts about this. Boba's kind of like adoption into this Tusken tribe. First and foremost, I would like to say that it was explicitly said that there are different tribes of Tuskens on Tatooine, which is very cool and epic and something we had kind of mentioned. I don't remember if it got cut from last week's episode or not. So that's very fun and cool. If you look back at like The Mandalorian and then just basically the Tusken, every mention of Tuskens. The Tuskens in Mando and in A New Hope have similar wardrobes. I can't speak for, what is it called? Attack of the Clones. They're probably similar, but these ones are distinctly not, which is interesting to me, because, like, on one hand, I'm like, yes, I love that we're getting some variation. We're getting some, like, these are not just, like, one group of people, there are many. I think it also makes sense more of like Anakin's whole shebang of he's like, I killed all of them. I'm like, you clearly did not kill all of them. You killed this entire like tribe, which is still very bad. But then it also kind of made me take pause because I was like, are we doing like some 5 civilized tribes shit here? Like that's, I don't love that. I don't think that's what they're doing. But that's me also being a positive Patty.
I've never heard that term in my life before.
I didn't either. I just was like, this kind of sounds like some white people words, so.
Stop.
Love.
Positive Patty.
It
She's
does sound
negative
like some
Nancy's
white people
girlfriend.
word.
Exactly.
I will say there was also a line when he and I don't do any of the Tusken characters have names yet.
No, and that is another point of contention for me. I'm like, please, can any of these bitches just have a name? Please.
Okay, yeah. I was about to say, I'm like, it's very weird that in addition to basically being rendered faceless by virtue of like what they wear, that they're also not given names. Because in terms of like, God, what's the word? Well, okay, the visual representation, like facelessness is obviously a theme in like Mandalorian culture, but those characters also have names and are given like personal histories and they have lives and inner worlds, whereas so far, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have a single like named Tusken character.
Yeah, I was gonna say like even for Din Djarin or like the armor or somebody, like we don't learn their names for quite some time, but we have titles for them for some of the ones that we never see their face. And with the Tusken language, like we don't see them have like a full conversation that we can understand with subtitles until Boba can understand it. So at first I was like, it was nice when Din was there to translate, although could we just have translation on the screen so that we as the viewer can see what they're saying? I'm okay. That is something I viscerally hate when media does, like the Chewie effect, where it's like, oh, if the viewer POV character can't understand them, then they can't understand them. I'm like, we can still show that that person doesn't understand them without othering them and what that means. We could still show that and then translate it to us. And I know that throughout Star Wars, that's always been a weird thing of like whether or not they translated on screen what Greedo says in A New Hope and stuff like that. I'm like, it doesn't change the experience for the viewer. Like you still feel like they are a different species than the person or a different culture and they are speaking a different language. It is fine. I feel like in The Lord of the Rings, they put the subtitles on the screen. Am I wrong? Someone please correct me. I know sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do.
I'm trying to think of Lord of the Rings characters that speak in non-English languages that are not like the orcs.
Like when the
I
orcs
would
do,
not-
they do put subtitles sometimes.
Yeah,
I
but
mean
would
when they
also
speak
not
like
cite the-
Sindarin.
I would not cite the orcs as like a good example.
No, that's a very bad one. I'm talking when like the elves speak.
Oh yeah, no, the elves always have
Yeah.
subtitles.
That's what I'm talking about. Like
never mind.
Like,
interesting.
like they
Yeah,
exactly.
let's talk. Let's have a chat.
Exactly. Like people talk like I'm thinking of that because like language is big there, but it's like it's very clear to the viewer they are speaking a language that the people around them don't understand, and it's like I don't know why you can't do that, and then coupling it with the fact that they don't have names, or even titles like the Armorer or whoever. It is very annoying. It's annoying.
Yeah, I think the only named Tuskens we have are in Legends, and then from a certain point of view, there is Rayrin, right?
I think there's something that I will say in terms of keeping them. I think keeping them nameless, I'm like, at the very least, give them some sort of moniker, something that we can know them by, other than just, the one who did the cool trick with the, with the staff. Like, I'd like that.
Flippy McGee.
Yeah. Oh my God, new name dropped. But I do kind of get the like not translating it until Boba can understand it. Because I do feel like from a storytelling perspective, that did enhance kind of, it showed like, oh, he's like integrating and he's being adopted into their culture and he can understand them. So I did kind of like that. But I do get how it's kind of like inaccessible and it does kind of other them. But I also feel like in my view, it almost othered Boba because he was the only one who didn't understand, and it made you be like, oh, I'm othered with him.
I agree. I also think, though, like, it could be, and once again, I am giving just a little bit too much credit to Jon Favreau when I say, like, it could be a matter of, like, you just don't share your names with strangers. You just don't fucking say that shit. Like, you just don't give that information out.
I wish it was like the Mandalorians where it was like you only give out your name when you trust them. Like Din only gives out his name when you trust them. And then that would have given some narrative weight also to them finally trusting Boba Fett in some way. And him giving them his name in that way, especially if now he can speak their language.
And there's so much we don't know about like Tusken culture. So it's like there very well could be something in Tusken culture, and maybe we'll learn about it in later episodes of them being like, our names are spoken in a way that you can't pronounce, so you can just call me Doug, like Geode. But
Thrawn moment.
Like it could be, because you could say Mithron Yoroto. Anakin's just stupid. But Geode's name you can't pronounce, so you have to call him Geode. But I digress. I think that is something that would be really interesting, is to see like the Tuskens' relationship with language and relationship with names and culture as a whole.
Yeah, as much as I want to be like, here are my thoughts about like, as someone who likes to learn about linguistics on like a whole level, this is also episode 2. So I do feel like to a certain extent, at least me personally, I'm like, maybe I should pull back and like let the show happen. But it's also in my nature to be like, what's the deal with this? One thing that I like about intercommunication between Tusken and non-Tusken characters is their use of TSL, Tusken Sign Language, which I think, practically speaking, was probably done to maybe move it, because the Tuskens in their original portrayal are, deeply racist and anti-Indigenous, and paired with that are like the way that they communicate it's not great. And I feel like perhaps the use of signing is sort of a way to maybe bridge the gap so they're more able to be seen as people. That said, it's also just a really cool narrative detail because Boba seems to pick up sign language a lot faster than he's able to ever pick up verbal communication. And I liked that. He still seems a little goofy at it though, which is something that I noticed as someone who has learned sign language, is that like deaf people will still occasionally be like, you're kind of bad at this. And I'm like, I know, I'm trying. But some of the Tuscans' reactions, like he would sign at them and they would be like, okay, he's trying. We really appreciate that. But like still wrong, still getting there. But I liked that. And I liked him learning to communicate with them, to do the train heist moment, which I would like to talk about.
The train is really when they're like John and Dave and Robert are like, by the way, in case you forgot, this is a Western, and I cannot stress enough, this is a Western, and we're like, we get it. And then, certain things then do become both good and problematic in that way. The train was interesting in that it brought a level of, like, a really advanced technology on Tatooine. We always see, like, speeders that are kind of broken and whatever, even when we see Luke and we see the moisture farms, whatever, and we see this, like, fast-moving train that we would only see on different planets, kind of things. It was almost jarring, and it was very... They're like, all right, we're doing an Old West train heist. I was like, oh boy, okay, we're going there.
Ain't that the last name of the Mandalorian? Jarring. Get
it?
Like jarring. Anyway, I do want to say shout out to Steph Green, who is the director of this episode. There were so many shots in this, and there were a lot of like cuts and camera moves that felt so reminiscent of the original trilogy. Like there was one scene when the conductor droid was conducting the train, and there's a part where the camera does a really quick zoom on it, like onto his hands, and I was like, that is straight from Return of the Jedi. Like it felt like one of those corny like transitions that I adore.
Also, and I don't know where to find this information, but the score of this episode in particular, like the music was really good.
Ludwig Göransson, girl, give us everything.
No, literally, I would like it really worked for all the scenes, particularly when Boba is burning the body of one of the Tuscans who died during the first raid. Like the way that scene is shot and scored made it like have a lot of really deep emotion to it that I appreciated. I thought that was fun. I thought the train heist was a fun time. I like a train heist. I loved the crosshair beam, which is, I guess, what I'm referring to all thrusters as from here on out, as the crosshairification of different characters.
I think Ludwig did the theme music, but I think someone else is doing the scoring. According to Wikipedia, its composer is Joseph Shirley, and I feel like there was somebody else in the credits. I don't know if it's Ludwig the whole time, but even so, the music has been banging.
I liked when the fucking little droid, when Boba's like, stop the train, and the droid just jumps out the fucking window.
He literally was like, I'm not paying enough for this. I thought that was
so funny. I was like, wow, I guess that droid's destroyed now. But it got up and crawled away like a weird little spider. And I was like, I hate that, but this is a fun time.
That droid is a minimum wage worker. He's like, I'm not paid enough to run this train. I gotta get out of here.
It's very fun whenever we see the Pike Syndicate, because at first I was like, are those Pikes? And I was like, no. And I was like, oh, they are Pikes.
No, I just wanted to say, I forgot what the Pikes look like without their weird little masks on. So I was just like, ugh. They look like little weird fish people.
At first I was like, wait, are those the Pikes? And then I was like, oh, yay me for knowing every glup shitto. But their presence was interesting because number one, it connects us to it was Crimson Dawn. It connects us to Crimson Dawn for real, because the guys in the red, they were not Crimson Dawn, but these guys are, in that they were a part of the Shadow Collective that Maul ran. The Pikes, he recruited them to his MLM. Their main thing is spice. We see Ahsoka briefly mistakenly work with them, and all kinds of stuff like that. But what was their presence mainly, like in this episode, was to show that, like, without the Hutts in charge, everybody's trying to get a piece. Like, even if they were just using Tatooine to just, transport stuff, I don't know what they're transporting from where to where. Like, why are they transporting spice across Tatooine? It might just be a throughfare. Like, it's really just like, now it's going to be anybody's game. So it's almost, to me, the indication was like, maybe it's not people trying to come for his throne. There's also going to be a lot of him being dropped in the middle of the Hutts are disintegrating migrating, and what does that mean? Because the Pikes would never have encroached on Hutt territory like that before. And I think that's why he was like, what are you doing here with Spice, my guy?
So we did kind of skip a major plot point in this episode, which is to say, one, like, Boba is integrating with the Tuskens, and like there is cultural exchange happening and mutual respect happening. We get to see we missed entirely the fun part of this episode, which is the driving montage of like Boba being like, hey, we're kind of friends now, me and the warrior person, they're teaching me how to fight good with a stick, with a gaffy stick. Can I go beat the shit out of those guys at fucking Tosche Station? And they're like, go for it, dude. And he comes back with the speeders, and that was just a really fun moment of seeing like reciprocity of him being like, okay, like, you've done this service for me. Look at these fun little bikes, and like they're like, fuck these bikes. What the fuck you bring these back?
Like, what the hell is this?
And he's like, no, I got it. Let me teach you. Let me tell you a little story. And then he teaches them, and it's just absolutely like seeing that little montage. That was everything to me.
I know that people are gonna wonder. The toxic stans are gonna be like, he's Boba Fett. He's the best. He's the best warrior. Why does he have to learn staff fighting? And I thought about this for a little bit, and I thought it was an interesting piece of characterization, because if his father is Jango, let's say he didn't grow up on Mandalore or whatever, his father is a gunslinger, his father is a bounty hunter. Sure, he's trained in hand-to-hand combat and he can hold his own, but he's mostly a gunslinger kind of guy. I'm sure, much like Din Djarin, I'm sure if you hand him a stick sort of weapon, he can hold his own, but it's not his main thing, obviously, because the Tuskens can hand him his ass. So it's an interesting piece of like something that he doesn't have a strength in, and he wouldn't have grown up as much learning. Actually, any of the clones wouldn't have grown up learning as much either, because with their training on Kamino. Again, this is a piece of the directing, or maybe whatever. I thought it was just so cool, and I was like, man, you know what? I do like Star Wars when the Tusken leader like flips him on his ass and then points the thing at him, and it's the same move that he does to the stormtrooper when he's introduced in The Mandalorian, to the point where it's like the same shot and everything. And I was like, you know, sometimes cinema is good. Like, sometimes I do love it here. I was thinking about like, oh, this is probably gonna happen. Everyone was thinking, oh, this is probably gonna happen for Din Djarin. He's gonna have to learn how to use the Darksaber. But it really was a big parallel for me with Sabine. If I think about Sabine and Boba parallels for too long, I do get very upset, because she's like, I know how to use a sword. Like, I know how to use every weapon, whatever. And they're like, okay, but like not as much as anybody else, and she has to go through this training that is both actual physical training and also a personal journey that is also a cultural exchange. Like, for her, it's addressing her Mandalorian identity and with the Jedi in her life. And I feel like it's similar here with Boba and the Tuskens, especially with their parallels to Mandalorian culture, even if he doesn't consider himself Mandalorian. So
you bringing up like Boba's like, and Kamino earlier too, is making me like moving well, not really away, but like, you know, when Boba goes on his little spiritual weird journey, it's not weird, what am I saying, but it is kind of weird, because it's just like, here you go, lizard in your brain now. That was a little odd, and it was just a plain lizard too, so we have plain rat and plain lizard now canonically. But Boba's little like vision, and then you see young Boba again, like thinking about Jango leaving on the fire spray and like running after him, like looking out the window. I was like, wow, that makes me very sad. But also, so he really did go out into the desert and find a stick, huh? Like, I thought it was just like a weird like dream. But
okay.
like he did come back with a stick. So
spoilers for the Torah, but I was literally like, this is the book of Genesisification of Boba Fett. Like, he wanders out into the wilderness and sees water and a tree, and I'm like, okay, I remember this part. I thought that was really weird. I didn't really know what to make of it while it was happening. And overall, I was just sort of confused. And then it was over, and I was like, okay.
So yeah, this is where I kind of want to talk about my critiques of this episode, because overall I really enjoyed this episode. I truly think it is probably like my second favorite piece of Star Wars visual media that we've gotten, which is fun because I've come to realize that my favorite pieces of Star Wars have nothing to do with the Jedi, at least in the visual media. The books, however, that's a different story. Anyways, because like this was an interesting story, but I have to pause when I think about that, because I'm like, okay, the creative team on this, the director, the writer, these were all white people. This was all a story told through the settler gaze. However, because Tem is an indigenous man, he's Maori, it becomes different. It becomes inherently different, and if he were not indigenous, this would be a very different episode, and a different story being told. And so that is interesting to me, because that makes Boba Fett one of the only human characters where his race is inherently something that is tied to him and cannot be divorced from him. And I think that's good and bad, right? Like there's good things about it, of like representation win. We got him, boys. But also like weirdly loaded. So there's that. That is my first layer. Now we go to the second layer. So the reason that this may have felt out of place, but also weirdly in place, is because in the Western genre itself, this idea of like medicine men and like vision quests is super prevalent. It is maybe my least favorite like trope in movies, where they're like, oh, we're hanging out with the natives, time to do some type of hallucinogen and have a vision. Because like it's not necessary. You didn't really need to do it for this episode. Something I was talking to Ollie about this earlier, I think would have been much more narratively fulfilling, is if rather than this being like a vision quest type thing, it was like a ceremony of like a coming of age ceremony or an adoption ceremony of him getting sent with like the Tusken child and all their little friends to go find the staffs for their gaffy sticks. And it would have also had like parallels to like Ilum and like the younglings and like that kind of thing. And so I think that is just so much more narratively fulfilling, but it didn't happen, and that kind of sucks. But that is why that felt both in and out of place, and like to me it felt very bad. I was like, as soon as because I loved everything, literally the like seconds up until that motherfucker, the Chief Tusken, brings out the little Geico lizard, I was like, this is everything. The Tuskens are literally telling Boba their story with their words. We are getting information about their history. Boba is like, hey, it's fucked up that this is your history. You shouldn't have to hide it. That's great. Wonderful. And then they're like, vision. And that sucked ass. But then he makes his gaffy stick, and it's like, okay, well, now we're back into the cool shit. And then the end where they do, like, they
give him his fun little outfit from the Mandalorian.
Yeah, his little fit. They're like, you are one of us.
Something I love about the outfit, and this is just in general, a lot of people have been talking about Boba Fett in general, is like they took a character who was iconic because of his look, and then they made a character about him. And in that part, they were like, we're going to take meaning from the visual. So at first they were like, he's always had a white undersuit. And then when we see him in The Mandalorian, he has a black undersuit. And you think that's just because, you know, he was walking around in a generic black cloak, and then he found his armor and put that on. And we find out now that that has different meaning. That is something that I love that we do when that happens in Star Wars or in anything that's like even a big franchise or whatever, when you take something that like is merchandisable or whatever and you give it meaning. And for him also, it felt very much like in The Mandalorian, where he had armor and then he was like, I am changing as a person and it is changing who I am. And obviously it was when he was creating his gaffy stick, and it was a lot like Din with the armor, because that was something that Din was doing with the armor and all that kind of stuff, and it just flowed really well. And then, you know, when people are like, oh, is he still wearing his little skirt? And you're like, yes, he is, because it matters to him personally. And I literally did start crying.
Yeah, it moves from like this idea of like white saviorism and cultural appropriation of like, oh yes, I have a dream catcher for some reason. That's you know, because people just have those and don't really understand what the fuck they're used for. Anyways, to like, this is a culture that has accepted me and I'm going to continue to carry with me for the rest of my life. And like that was a beautiful piece of visual storytelling. I loved that.
This is actually something I very much appreciate about the High Republic, is that when you have, and this is something that I was actually worried about with this show, and why I asked Mel earlier, I was like, is Tem a producer on the show? At least a producer of like, even when the show was announced, I was like, okay, are we gonna have any Indigenous voices at the creative helm? This is like, I'm Latina. This is my absolute worry for the Andor show. Like, I have fear in my heart about that for the Andor show, and that was my fear for this show. And I'm glad that we've gotten some things right so far. And it's something that I like in the High Republic, is that when this is just a fantasy or sci-fi or genre thing in general, when we're in a world where our cultural stuff doesn't exist, yet we can reflect that visually, or, you know, these people look the way that we look, you know, what does that mean and how can we translate it without giving away that meaning or falling into certain tropes? That they've been thoughtful about that, even though there are things we could talk about. But that's because there are the like creators from marginalized groups behind the scenes. And that's why that's usually my first worry there. So that's kind of my thing also, is like, what does it mean? What does it mean when who's telling the story? And also when you have big cultural products like this, there's so many people with the input of it. I know we talk about Encanto a lot on this podcast, but I know with Encanto a lot, I was like, this is really great, and I like this a lot. However, the main couple of people at the top of the creative team are not Colombian. They had a lot of Colombian people come in, but the main people are not Colombian. So it's just a thing I think about a lot, and this is another example of that. So
this is something I've been thinking about since the episode came out, of like, because there are moments where I'm like, yeah, she's giving Dances with Wolves. I said that in episode 1. And I think it's also just like, it's the entire idea of quote unquote going native is such a large thing rooted in this genre of like, okay, we do want to be sympathetic to Indigenous people, but the only way we can do that is through the POV character. For some reason, we can't have these people tell their own stories, which is why I liked in the episode when they got to tell their own story and see how relationally they're not going to go and like when the Pikes are there, they're not going to be like, yeah, so actually this is like, these are our unceded territory, like, fuck you, whatever, because that's not what they're doing. And so like having that like private communal space, I think, made a lot of sense. But also, yeah, I do think, like, was Jon Favreau thinking that when he wrote this? No. And so having to hold both in your heart, like, I really liked this. I liked this story. I don't feel like it felt like there were moments I can see if Boba had not been an Indigenous man, that this is like a white savior story. But it becomes not that because of how we as the viewers are going through the world.
Like Claudia was saying, I think it's clear in the episode where different people on the creative team were pulling in more in certain directions over other ones.
I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but what I hope was happening, because I know we've heard Tem talk about the influences that he has personally brought, is that because he had felt comfortable enough and had the opportunity enough to bring certain things to his character, that was the reason why, you know, they would feel more comfortable telling a story like this. They wouldn't normally if it was a white person at the front, because that would be quite problematic. But they were like, if this is the angle he wants to take it at, this is the way we could tell this story, because this is important to him and this is how he sees this character. I would hope that that's the way that it goes. I know that that's often, you know, how creatives work with each other, so I'm hoping that's how it is behind the scenes. Jon Favreau, please don't let me down. But I would have loved if we'd had some Indigenous writers on the show, though.
I agree. I would have really liked to have a writer's room that reflected a little bit better the main cast, but I think I can always say that about literally any project. We've seen Tim explicitly talk about how he brought things into this performance, like Claudia said.
I have to say, throughout this whole episode, I was like, I cannot wait until they do the behind the scenes of this, especially for this episode. I don't tend to watch those all the way through, but for this, I wanted to know every single bit.
I agree. Also followed by another like suggested reading I have for you is something I found on accident today, which is like, I think it's like called like the Life and Times of Temuera Morrison. And it is about him like 10 years ago. He hit this slump in his acting career of like he couldn't book anything. And so he like, it's just like, it's like it's like half an hour of him just like living his day-to-day life. I think it's like his 52nd birthday during the episode, and it's just him like being like, this is my life, these are the things that I have done. And you can see like how much like he was looking for something where he could just be a little guy, and this is the perfect role for him to be just a little guy. Also at the very end, he's like, I might have to play a role that I've never played before. I might have to be gay.
Good for him.
So he said, what am I gonna have to play gay? He played Commander Cody, so I don't know, like he's already played gay.
Yeah.
I could do a whole TED talk on when you should be explicit about a political message and when you shouldn't, and how you should do that. And there are many arguments about how that should be done in Star Wars as well. But I really liked how he just said it straight to the screen. Like, he really said, Boba Fett went down to Tosche Station to pick up some land back. And it wasn't like, oh, that like you would have to like get it with the whole thing of the story. Like, he says it straight to the screen, straight whatever. And there are many times where you're like, it is so clear that this show or piece of Star Wars media, especially Star Wars is anti-fascist. And in this specific one, it has a very specific message that he said straight to the screen. And I just felt, I really appreciated that they didn't hem and haw with it, because sometimes Star Wars likes to hem and haw with it and is not the most clear with their political messages. And by God, it was refreshing.
I liked the part when the little Tusken kid held Boba's hand and was like leading him across the camp. Like, it's because Tem played both of the roles, but him talking to that kid felt so much like Boba talking, or Jango talking to Boba from Attack of the Clones. And it just made me be like, ma'am, Boba's like, listen, this is what Jango did, and I'm gonna do that. And I'm just and I love seeing like him build these individual relationships with each of the Tuskens. Hopefully, at the very least, we'll hear what he refers to them as colloquially. But that being said, I just like that he's making friends.
I liked the episode altogether. I will say I liked it a lot better than I did episode 1. I liked episode 1 a lot. It was fun, but tonally, I don't think it had really found its footing yet. And I do feel like it has much more solid ground in this episode than it did in the previous one. I will also say I'm very, very interested in the history of Tatooine as a planet now, because one of the Tuskens mentions when the oceans dried up, and I was like, when the what? Like, these are things I want the show to explore.
I would put this in my like top 10 at least Star Wars TV moments. I thought it was just a solid piece of television, and I really, really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this was one of the most visually like dynamic and just good times that we've had in Star Wars. I'll say it. It's my like second favorite piece of Star Wars visual media. I said that earlier in the episode.
What's your first favorite?
Rogue One. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I am so curious to hear more Indigenous perspectives on it. I've heard a few, and for the most part, especially from like Indigenous people of the Pacific, of course we ate that shit up. We were like, hell yeah. But I would love to hear other people's thoughts.
Like I have said in previous episodes, I have not read all of the Star Wars comics, but I did know about Black Chrysanthemum. What is his name? Is that right? But I saw him. I was like, oh my god, I know you from the comics. That's so cool. Where's Bosk?
Yeah.
And then also fun Tosche Station and Luke's friends. So this was like, yay, nice little cameos. And yeah, like the Tuskens being fleshed out even more was like, yes, this is some good food. And overall, yeah, it was good. I'm really enjoying it. We're only 2 episodes in, but I'm just like, damn, this is already up there for me, I guess, for like Star Wars media. And like Mel, Rogue One is also my favorite. But yeah, I was like, wow, what a fun, funky, fresh time. I probably am going to rewatch this episode tomorrow with my sister. Moving on, I guess, because those are my thoughts for the episode. Moving on to Clone Watch. If anyone saw my TikTok, I'm okay. The mouse hasn't found me yet. You know what else hasn't been found? Other clones. Other clones in this series have not been found or spotted yet. We are seeing like bits and pieces of Camino in Boba's little funky, fresh dreams, visions. So I feel like they're close. If we're on Camino, they're there. Just they're not showing up in Boba's memories because Boba lived a sad little boy life and did not get to hang out with all the other clones. So
I enjoy the idea of that shot in this episode of like Boba running as he sees Boba Fett, or I guess at that point Jango Fett's starship flying back to the docking bay. And him running to the window and we seeing his reflection. I like the idea of seconds later, Fives crashed through the door and is like, come on, dude, let's go, I don't know, do a flip. Welcome to Fantastic. Well, this is a segment wherein I have found some of those buck wild fan casts on the internet. And I'm bringing them to my friends to examine, like artifacts. Are you guys ready?
I've never been more ready for anything in my entire life.
Oh boy.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to name some actors, and then you're going to have to tell me for what role you believe they have been fan casted. I'll start on a kind of relevant one. Bill Hader.
Thrawn.
No, what does he have to do with this week's episode? Quickly.
Max Rebo.
Boba Fett?
No.
I almost said Bib Fortuna.
No.
Fennec Shand.
Jabba the
No.
Hutt?
Jabba
Okay.
the Hutt.
What? Wait.
Bill Hader?
I told you, some of these are just like, why?
That makes me a Bill Hader.
Are you ready for the next one? Billy Eichner.
Billy Eichner.
Is this
Yes.
also Boba Fett related?
Tangentially, yeah.
Are they the clones?
No. Billy
Sir,
Eichner as the
Drangir.
clones.
Drangir.
No.
Not Drangir, Dengar.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I was
No.
doing High Republic stuff lately.
Him as Dengar, though? That's powerful.
I like
That's my
for
fan
$1.
cast.
For $1, can you get Han Solo?
Valance.
No.
Fuck.
Is it a bounty hunter?
No.
Are they an alien?
Yes.
Ooh.
Bib Fortuna.
Yes.
I was
Wait,
too early on the
so-
other one. This
Let's
is
go.
Jabba.
I'm
He's amazing.
imagining freaking Billy Eichner and fuck what you just said his name.
Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Bill's Palace. I love it.
And the droid is Matt Berry. That's a wild combination.
How do I put this? Daniel Craig, but like in 5 different fan casts. Like 5 different distinct fan casts have him as this role. No.
Is
It's
this a
Daniel Craig. Why would he play Dooku?
Just because Craig, huh?
Because Dooku's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. No. We need a pause. Pause. Did you just call Craig Dooku fine?
Yeah, he's handsome.
Yeah, he is.
I don't want to engage in relations with
He
him,
is.
but I think he's handsome.
Yeah,
Wait,
he is.
hold on. Now
He's
you gotta
easy
make
on
me
the eyes.
post the freaking one picture of the cat that's like, oh no, my mutuals,
My
are
mutuals are simply for
sexualizing
senior
senior
citizens.
citizens again.
So once again, Daniel Craig. Who do we think?
A Jedi?
No.
A Sith?
No.
Asajj Ventress.
Nope.
Does this still have to do with Boba Fett somehow?
I mean, this is like considerably more tangentially, but I would say no.
And they're not a Jedi or a Sith. Are they a Force user at all?
No.
Bounty hunter?
Yes.
Is it Han Solo?
No.
Cad Bane?
No.
Solo is not
Dengar.
a bounty hunter.
Though I have seen Cad Bane, Daniel Craig. This is not.
That's interesting. Are they a bounty hunter, you said?
Yes.
Is it
Vanguard.
balance?
No and no.
Is it in like the same like era as
No.
Boba?
Yes.
Or okay.
Or did they know him?
Not Bosk. I don't know if they know each other. I don't think.
Is
I
it
think
they
might have
Embo?
met. Okay, whoa. Two
Em-
said
Embo?
yes, it is Embo.
Embo!
So this is what is really wild to me. 5 different fan casts, 5 different distinct fan casts have said, you know what? Daniel Craig is perfect for Embo.
Him jumping down when he like is doing all that little work, doing his little chasey chase. That does feel like something Daniel Craig would do.
Next up, Neil Patrick Harris.
Boba related?
No,
Luke Skywalker.
Jedi.
no,
Bounty hunter.
no,
Asajj Ventress.
no,
Stop.
The Sith?
no,
Are they Jedi?
A senator.
no, no,
Rebellion?
no.
A
Nope.
droid?
Clovis?
Not Clovis, not a droid. Did you say a droid or a clone?
I said a droid.
Not a droid. I will say this is a pretty good fan cast, actually, I think.
Oh.
Oh, wig.
Are they
Brierly
human?
Ronan?
Not Brierly Ronan. What did
Are
you
they
say?
from
No.
are they a book character?
No,
Have they ever appeared in live action?
no. Jess, what did you say?
Are they a human?
Yes,
Wait,
Rebels
so
or
they're-
Clone Wars?
Rebels.
So they're not a book character,
They're okay.
and they
But
haven't
they're
been in
they're
action.
they're good casting for a Rebels character. I'm trying to think of
Callus?
No. Who do you think I am?
Not good casting.
Oh, okay. Zeb.
Nope.
Oh yeah, that's perfect casting. Okay, no, I'm just trying to think of who's a little bit Neil Patrick.
Do we
Harris-y.
know this character, like, and care about them?
We don't care about them, but we do know them.
Mart?
Not Mart Matten. I have a very good.
Constantine.
No, not Constantine. I do have a very good Mart Matten fan cast, but I'm saving it for a good
Okay,
So
I think
not
I've got it. Hang on. I think I've got it. Is it Arinda Price?
No, it is not Arinda.
It's Thrawn, right?
No, it is not Thrawn.
Is it... So he's human? Is he
Is he the-
Empire or
Yes.
Rebellion?
Is it List?
No, it is not List, and technically Empire.
Is
Quizzy.
he a defector?
Not Quizzy. Who did you say?
Wait, sorry, because he's
defector?
even human.
Is he a defector from the
No,
Empire?
he is not a defector from the Empire. And it's not Quizzy. Damn, I did not realize this was going to stump y'all. I think of this man and immediately think of this character is the crazy thing.
What?
Wait, okay. Do we see them? Are they like an adversary to our characters?
Yes.
Is he one of the two Empire guys in the first 2 seasons?
Nope.
No, we've already guessed both of them.
Oh, we haven't. That's not Admiral Constantine.
There's an arc with this gentleman, an entire arc we spend with him.
My
He's
favorite,
human?
my favorite Star Wars character.
Ryder
Constantine.
Azadi.
No and no. Well, Ryder Azadi, what? No.
Why am I thinking?
Can we get like a lifeline here?
Hondo's not human.
Is
Not
he
Hondo.
one of the? Is he the?
What is it to be human?
Is he the guy played by Dante Bosco? That's
No.
Jai Kel?
Jai
Is
Kel.
it Fen Rao?
He is not Fen Rao. You are closer though.
Is it
He's
what's
made
his
a-
name? Not the Visla guy.
Previous.
No, not Previsla. You were so close though.
Oh my god. Tiber? Tiber
Yes,
Saxon?
Yeah, it's like his
Saxon.
fucked up little his cousin or whatever the fuck, his brother.
Does Neil Patrick Harris not look exactly like Tiber Saxon? I can't believe that took you guys that long. It's one of those things where even before I saw the fan cast, I was like, Neil Patrick Harris makes sense.
I
for that.
always think of Noah
Neil
when I see
Patrick
Tiber
Harris is
Saxon.
already a Star Wars character now, though.
He is.
My bestie, Kare.
I think Tiber Saxon's a good lookalike.
We all get a glub shitto that we all Star Wars glub shitto that we all look like. And unfortunately, Tiber Saxon is Noah's, I believe.
Someone said that I look like Admiral Constantine, and it changed my
No.
life.
Hugh Jackman, and for the same role, John Krasinski.
Arinda Price.
Stop.
Is
no.
it human?
Yes.
A Jedi?
Empire Rebels era?
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Not Qui-Gon Jinn. I
Have
can't tell. I feel like
Have they been
telling-
on screen before? Are they a canon character? Like that's been in visual media?
Yes, they have been in visual media. They've been in 2 pieces of visual media.
Have they been in live action?
No.
Kanan Jarrus.
Yes.
No!
Hugh Jackman.
Kanan, I'm so
John-
sorry. King.
I'm so sorry. John Krasinski?
Kanan, I'm so sorry, King, that they not Wayne in.
John fucking Krasinski. Okay, this is how that would go down. He would when Kanan is about to die by fire, he turns to Hera and does a little face he does in The Office when he looks at the camera, and then he fucking dies.
Oh my god, not fucking A Quiet Place AU.
I can't with that. What I was gonna say is, like that thing where it's like the Industrial Revolution and its consequences, the Bad Batch and its consequences. For the finale, Jim Parsons and Rainn Wilson.
Don't say
Gron.
Gron.
Not Thrawn.
Okay,
I said no. I said Gron.
Not
Not
Gron,
Thrawn,
pick
not
Gron.
Thrawn. I still have like a considerable amount of Thrawn fan cast.
Is he
Not
human?
me too.
Is he human?
No, not human.
Are they from a
Jedi?
TV show?
They are from a TV show. They are not a Jedi.
Have they been in live action?
No. Well, I don't think so.
Is it
Okay.
Quizzy?
No, it is not Quizzy.
Rebels or Clone Wars?
Rebels.
Okay, and they're an alien from Rebels.
I never said an alien.
They're not human. Are they a droid?
Yes.
Is it AP5?
Yes, it is AP5.
Oh my god.
That feels so hateful to AP5. I'm so sorry.
I like Office AU of the Office AUification.
Hello and welcome to Name That Ship, where we take fan fictions that we have found or that other people have sent us, and we try to make each other guess them. Again, this is all for the love of fan fiction and the wealth of just combinations of characters that can occur, especially in a universe as large as Star Wars, so please don't harass anyone. We do this out of love. This was sent in by Ari, the host of the Millennium Pod. This is a crossover. It is character A / character B / character C. The other two ships are from the non-Star Wars thing. Star Wars characters other than... Oh, no, I can't give you any of the characters. That would give it away.
Oh.
Additional tags. Alternate universe. Established relationship. Fluff. Christmas fluff. Baking. Holidays. It's titled May the Fudge Be With You. Character A spends some holiday time with her soulmates. Character B and character C in Japan.
Okay, should we just start guessing?
Yeah.
I mean, are all of the characters from Star Wars like from the same era?
Yes.
Okay, is one of them Rey Skywalker?
No.
Is
Ooh.
this like prequels?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go down a limb here, just as a totally random guess. Is one of them Arinda Price?
No.
You
No
can't have
one
a
is
Rinda
with you
be your-
today.
You can also guess what it crosses over with. I will give you this. The she, character A, who spends some holiday time with her soulmates, is from the other thing, and the two other people are from Star Wars.
Are the
And
two of
those two people do, I will say this, those two people do canonically associate with each other and work together.
Finn and Poe.
No.
are they from prequel era?
One of them appears in the prequel era.
Okay,
other
so
one
the
doesn't.
original trilogy more?
Yes.
Obi-Wan.
This one,
Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
No.
Anakin?
Nope.
Are these live action characters? Like, mainly?
One of them.
Chewbacca.
Nope.
Is one of them from Rebels?
Yes.
One of them a main character for Rebels? Or like amongst the regularly occurring cast?
Yes.
Is one
Hondo.
Rex?
No.
No to Rex and no to Hondo? Okay. Is one a clone?
No.
Are any of these men or are they all women?
So the first one that's not from Star Wars is a woman, and the second two are men.
Okay.
I will give you. I'll
ask
give
a
you this.
question?
One of the men is human, and one is non-human.
Is one of
How
them the
is that?
Ithorian mare from this episode of Book of Boba Fett?
No.
Okay.
No,
Second
one is from
question.
Rebels and one is from original trilogy.
Yes.
The way that my thought was Lando and Nine Nub. Am I?
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is the crossover piece of media something that you enjoy, or is it just like a random piece of crossover media?
It's something that many of us used to enjoy.
No.
Doctor Who?
I was
No.
about to say, I'm like, is it Doctor Who?
No. It's
Okay.
something-
Supernatural?
No,
Oh, thank God. I can't do that.
it's not.
Not on this podcast.
Okay, well that's two heads of
Sherlock.
this horrible. Yeah, I was like, that's
I'm like-
two
I'm
heads
like-
of this horrible triangle.
Many
Is
of
it
us
Sherlock?
used to enjoy it.
Was it a
There's big
Uh,
reason we don't anymore.
Is it a popular Tumblr show?
It's a popular
Is it the one slur?
book and movie series.
Harry Potter.
It is.
Hermione
It's-
Granger.
Yes, the woman is Hermione Granger.
Nar.
Can you?
Are the characters she ship with adults right now?
Yes.
Fuck. Okay. I
I will
is it
say,
Luke Skywalker?
No, I will say, if you can also try and guess some of the other characters. The other characters are, because you have guessed that it is Harry Potter, I will give you this: that the side ships are Lucius Malfoy and Narcissa Malfoy and Arthur Weasley and Molly Weasley. Because this is some,
Why are they here?
I don't know.
Out of here!
Harry Potter
No.
character.
No. Because why are they in Japan?
I'll say this. It says it in the first sentence. Hermione looked around her flat that she purchased in Tokyo for her job as a liaison with Japan's wizarding ministry.
Okay, so this is in the
also
Harry
Star
Potter
Wars characters?
canon.
And there's an alien.
Yes.
And it's not Nine Nub.
Yes.
Is the alien?
Nine Nub?
Is the alien? Is the alien from Rebels? Is the alien a character in Rebels? Is it? Please, it's not. Please tell me it's not who I'm afraid it is.
Is Thrawn turning Japanese? Yes or no?
No, get thrown out of here.
Who's the other character? Is it Tarkin?
No. You're getting closer.
Is it Eli Vanto?
Is it Darth Vader?
You're getting closer.
Is it Anakin?
No.
Is it Orson Krennic?
Yes.
Wait, who? Is it Krennic or Palpatine?
Palpatine.
Get Palpatine out of here.
Palpatine,
No.
Thrawn, and Hermione.
Wait. Hermione's true loves are Thrawn
Okay.
and Palpatine?
Okay, so
And they're lost in Japan together?
I bet they know how to pronounce Wingardium Leviosa or whatever she says.
oh yeah, in the second paragraph she does pronounce Thrawn's full name. Hermione spent some holiday time with her soulmates, Sheev, Palpatine, and Thrawn in Japan. In Japan.
This is a fic that has two ships. They are not interrelated. So there's character A, character B, and then character C and character D. Those are the two pairings. Additional tags: gossip, praise kink, developing relationship, C and D secondary, grinding, drinking, two emotionally stunted people admit their feelings for each other after alcohol is involved, tactical party, AU where the Empire wins at the Battle of Yavin.
Is this Tarkin and Krennic?
That is one of them. So the background ship of this is Orson Krennic and Wilhelm Tarkin.
Is
They
this
are not
Threato?
No, it is not.
So, are they two men?
Yes.
Are they both human?
No.
Are they both non-human?
Also no. One is an alien, one is not.
Is it
Is it Quizzy and Callus?
No.
No.
Are they both Empire characters?
Yes.
Is one of them
Thrawn
Thrawn?
and Callus?
One of them is Thrawn.
Is Orinda the other?
No, it's another man. I don't know if you guys are gonna get this. I'll be very happy if you
Is
do.
it Thrawn and Constantine?
No.
Is
Thrawn
it,
and Veers.
Is it
Yes!
another? What?
Oh my god, Veers, watch this one's for you.
Veers watch.
I have a quick question. How many fan fictions are there on AO3 that include Veers?
I don't know about including him. I'm curious. Let me see if there are any more that are Thrawn and Veers specific.
This will give you context. He's from Empire, and he's the one leading the attack on Hoth. So he's wearing the funky little hat, and he's like, "Go shoot those motherfuckers." He's that one.
Okay. Do you want to try and guess how many fics there are in the Thrawn/Veers tag?
Is there
more than
16.
one. There's more than 16.
200.
36.
There's less than 200, but more than 36.
100.
45.
Lower. Directly one above, Mel. There are 46 fan fictions in the Thrawn/Veers tag.
Holy
That
shit.
out of
The
here.
most
Little do you
recent
know,
one-
I have that fic bookmarked.
The
Little
most
do you know,
the
Mel's
most
written
recent
all
one
of them.
was actually published January 3rd of this year.
I love that. Wait,
That's
was
like
this
That was
fic?
2 days ago.
Or no, wait, that's last year. I still think it's 2021 actually. So time's
Okay.
really hard for me. But yes, there are 46 of these. I did not
Period.
know that before researching just now. So
Good for
Alright.
them.
Well, are you ready for this fic? It's called Big Surprise.
That's a good title.
I'm not going to name the characters because I think it'll give it away. Additional tags. This sets up basically the entire premise for this AU. Character A is a good dad. Character B is not the best. Yes, she's a person in this AU. By the way, Fives and Echo have actual names. So don't feel confused. Basically, everything is explained as you read. Typical sibling relationships, alternate universe, modern setting.
So quickly, what are Fives and Echoes' real names? Because
let me find out.
Like, this is Frank and Aaron with an E.
Okay, so
Are
wait,
these
the
two
main
men?
ship. I don't think so.
One of them is a man. Followed by Fives and Echo's real names are Felix and Eli.
No, we already have an Eli.
Oh my god.
Are these Clone Wars era characters?
Yeah. One is kind of...
Jedi?
No, neither of them are Jedi.
Wait, what were you going to say? You said one is kind of...
One is kind of transcendent of time.
Are they
But-
a droid?
Boba Fett.
No.
Were they a
Bendu?
droid?
No, they are not a droid.
Are they... Is it the daughter?
No, it is not.
I
The
don't know.
son? The father?
No.
The Holy Spirit?
No.
I'm
It's
trying.
like this
One of them,
character
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
transcends like
Yes.
Yoda?
eras. Not
No.
Are they-
out of here?
Are they a human?
No.
Fuck.
Is
But
it
they're
the
human in this
Chewbacca.
world?
They're
Not a-
human in this AU.
Not a droid?
Not a droid.
It's not Chewbacca.
Is it
It is not Chewbacca.
Hey,
it is a
comment
woman.
question. Is it a
No.
ship?
The
No.
Millennium Falcon?
No.
Is it the world between worlds?
No. No.
Are they an alien? Are they a
No.
living being?
Where did they
In a way.
appear?
Are they like the
The first appearance is in Attack of the Clones.
Is it a fuck a G? Oh my god, what are they called?
A Geonosian? No.
No. A Kaminoan?
No.
Oh well, never mind. Wait, first appearance in Attack of the Clones. Is it Zam Wessel?
No. I can't say anything more than that because
Is
it'll
one
give
of
away.
okay? Is one of
Fuck,
the
what's her name? The
characters-
one person that Django hires.
Zam,
Zam
no.
Wessel. I just said her.
Oh wait, sorry.
Is one of them Jango Fett?
Yes, one of them is Jango Fett.
Okay, so it's Jango Fett and somebody.
In this AU,
And
she's
also-
Okay,
someone.
so is this the personification of something that is
Yes.
not living?
Yes.
Is it the personification of Boba Fett's starship?
No, it is not.
Dang it.
Oh thank
The
God.
personification of Camino?
Yes. The
Shut
entire
the fuck
planet.
up!
The entire planet of Camino.
Is her name Tapoka, like Tapoka City?
No, I believe her name is Camino.
And this is our beautiful son, Felix
Boba Fett.
Fives. Oh my god.
So okay,
That's
so this is like okay, so
this is like the
he
TARDIS when
doesn't
she
stick his
was
dick in a
making-
planet, right? Like we're clear about that. The planet is a human in this.
Yes, she is
So he's not like going down to the water and fucking the planet.
Yeah,
Not
no.
yet.
Yeah, I also don't think he has sexual relations with her. Yeah, no.
I love
Tea.
that for
Oh,
him.
thank God.
So, yeah.
Wow.
How did I get that?
I don't
That
know.
was gonna be my next guess, honestly.
Her first appearance is in the Attack of the Clones, Camino. Wait, I love how you're like, yeah, she's a woman, and I was like, oh, Camino.
I know. I was like,
Camino
that's
just has a feminine aura.
Not the feminine urge to be a planet. Sorry, I'm reading it and there's so many layers. Wait. Huh?
Uh-oh.
So does he stick his dick in the
No,
planet?
he does. No. There's nothing sexual about this.
Good.
I can't. I don't know if Camino is the babysitter,
Django with the babysitter.
but the problem is that I do also believe Sifo Dyas is a character in this. So I'm like, there's
I don't know what's going on here.
what? This is crazy. Anyways, I need to finish this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us this week for RuPaul's Pod Race. Episodes usually drop on Sundays. For updates, Star Wars news, and more cursed shit, follow us on social media at RuPaul's Pod Race on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you really love the show, please rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or Overcast. It means a lot to us. May the Force be with you, and don't griff it up.
Waka waka.
Waka waka.
Waka waka.